All right, on trackers, we have been finger tapping away. And so up to this point, we've got a couple of videos on just basic technique and timing using triplets, using 16th notes, using 16th note triplets, and then some of the various techniques where we're going tap, push, pull, or tap, push, pull, hammer, and kind of variations on that. Okay, so understanding these basics now will help you to start to employ those techniques. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to show you some basic ideas for how to make these things sound musical and use them in some cool soloing ideas. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you somehow, some way. Okay, there we go. Ooh, we're sharing the screen. Okay, so right now the first idea we're going to look at here, it says this is switching between two different chords. Okay, and I want to show you basically a good way to do tap out a minor chord or a major chord. Okay, because what happens when you tap is usually one idea when you're using finger tapping is to tap the notes of a chord that's being played in the background. Now this is where your theory comes in. If you've had some theory and you understand how to construct a chord, then that's going to help you to understand quickly how to choose notes to tap with. Okay, if I look at this right here, this is an A minor. I'm going to have an A minor chord going in the background. What I've done is I've got a separate track on my Guitar Pro that's just playing a whole note on an A minor on a clean sound, and it's just playing like an A minor and holding it, and then we're going to tap the notes of an A minor chord over the top of it so you'll hear what it sounds like. Now, if I know from theory that the notes of an A minor are A, C, and E, because a minor chord is root, minor third, and fifth, I can know those are going to be the three notes that I use to tap the A minor chord. Okay, the root, the third, and the fifth. And in a minor chord, it's a flatted third or a minor third. If you don't understand that from theory, you don't have to go through the whole theory thing in order to figure that out, although I would highly recommend doing some theory so that you understand basic chord construction. But you can look at the notes of an A minor chord and figure out what they are by looking at the different notes that are in the chord that are being held down. There are going to be three notes in that chord. The open fifth string is an A. The fourth string second fret is an E. Open third string, or not open third string, but second fret third string is an A. The first fret second string is a C, and the open first string is an E. So that takes longer than just knowing that it's A, C, E, but a minor chord or that A minor chord has three notes in it, A, C, and E. You don't count two A's, two E's, one C. You just say, those are my three notes that were used to make that chord, A, C, and E. Okay, here's a quick way to figure that out when you're finger tapping. Okay, if I put my first finger on the root A, okay, on the fifth fret, there's the A. Now, the next note for a minor chord is always going to be a step and a half higher than that. So here's my root, so I go up a step and a half higher. Let me just stop sharing my screen for a second. Step and a half higher, and that's the next note that I'm going to use if I want to tap a minor chord. That's a C. This is A, this is C, okay? So index on A, the root. This one is on the minor third. That's a step and a half higher. That's the C, okay? And then the tapping note is on the 12th fret. That tapping note is two whole steps higher than this one. So, okay, here's my root, go up a step and a half. That's called the minor third, and then go up two whole steps from that, and that's the perfect fifth, A, C, E, okay? And those are the notes that I use to tap an A minor chord, okay? Any minor chord. If I wanted to do G minor, I'd go G, step and a half higher here, and then two whole steps from there, and that's a minor chord for G minor. Okay, that's getting right. If I wanted to do B minor, B, step and a half higher, two whole steps higher than that pinky. And that works on any string, okay? It doesn't matter which string I'm on. If I want to tap a minor chord, that's a good way to do it, okay? So I'm going to go back to the A minor, and here's my A minor chord. If I want to tap an A major chord, what I do is I take this one up another half step. So this is the major third. This is a major third is a distance of 2 whole steps from the root. So now I'm root, 2 whole steps up to where my tapping finger is going to be. That's the C sharp. And then now I go a step and a half from this note to the 12th fret so that my 12th fret remains the same. It's just this one in the middle where my pinky goes, went up a half step higher, okay? And those are the notes of an A major chord. That's the root, the major third, and the fifth. So the root and the fifth don't change from each other. The one that changes is the one in the middle. If it's a minor, pinky is a step and a half higher than the root. If it's a major, pinky is 2 whole steps higher than the root. Okay? Perfect fifth stays where it is. It's going to be 2 whole steps above the minor third or a step and a half above the major third. Okay? Okay, so a good way to know to how to pick a minor or a major chord. That's called the triad, a 3-note chord. Okay? If you know your theory and you know A, C, E is a minor chord, you got your notes right there. You know A, C sharp, E is a major chord, then you got your notes right there. I'm going to go ahead and share the screen again now with you. And we're going to take a look at this exercise here. So here you're going to hear Guitar Pro is generating just a whole note chord in the background. And you're going to hear the difference between the A minor and the A major chord. And I'm just moving one finger on my left hand to make that transition. It's going to sound really cool. You'll hear it in the background. I'm going to let Guitar Pro play it really quick here so that you can just hear it with Guitar Pro, and then I'll try playing along with it. But this is what it would sound like here. Okay, so you can hear that difference in the 2 chords. I'll bring my screen back up here. You can hear the difference in the 2 chords where I'm going. Actually, I think I was doing. So I'm going tap, push, hammer. See that's that difference between a major and a minor chord. I'm going to go ahead and share the screen again with you. We'll play along with that for a second. I'll minimize my picture so you can see where we're at. So this is definitely tap, push, hammer. Let's try that. So you can see what that sounds like. And you're hearing that background chord. There's just a whole note difference between A minor and A major. It doesn't have the distortion on there. I just made it nice and clean so you could hear that. Okay, so let's look at the next exercise now. Okay, so this next exercise, we're going to do the same A minor triad. We've got the exact same move, tap, push, hammer, okay? Now here, instead of making a transition with my left hand, I'm going to make a transition with my right hand. I'm going to go from an A minor chord. I better put my me back up here. Yeah, I don't want you guys to suffer without seeing my beautiful face. Okay, here's an A minor chord right here. And then I'm going to transition to F major. Now, the notes of an F major chord are F, A, and C. A minor is A, C, and E. F major is F, A, and C, okay? Now, just like when you very first start learning guitar, you learn that you make smooth chord changes by keeping notes in common between chords. That same thing happens with this finger tapping technique. If you can keep a couple of notes in the same place, then go ahead and do it, baby, and just make the least amount of movement possible. So this is showing you that it says keep notes in common between chord shapes to minimize movement. This example only requires a 1 fret change in the tapping hand. So that's what this is. Smooth transition, a smooth chord transition by varying the position of the tapping hand. And the last one, we varied the position of the left hand, okay, the fretting hand. Now we're just going to vary the position of the tapping hand. So FAC is the F chord. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing this for a second. ACE is the minor triad for the A minor. So here was our A minor, the one we've been doing. All I've got to do to get an F is move this one finger up here. And it's going to sound like a totally different chord. Here's A minor. Now I move this up here on my tapping hand. All of a sudden it's got a major sound. Sounds like that chord. Here was A minor. Here's F major. Here's an A minor tapped. F major tapped. And your ear is hearing the notes of the chord. It's telling you, brand new chord, dude. Sounds really cool. If you've got something going in the background that's A minor and then F major, I'm going to share my screen again. That will, it will bring that out loud and clear, the sounds of those two different chord tonalities. I'll get rid of my picture so that you can see this as we go through this. I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm going to get rid of my picture. Come on. Okay. I'm going to select those now, and we're going to play through this exercise. This, again, is tap, push, hammer. Get ready on the A minor. This is what it sounds like. So you can hear that loud and clear on the Guitar Pro. I've got that got those chords going behind it, and you're hearing the background chord on that. Okay, it's a good place to stop. Let's stop right here, work with those. Come on back. We'll go over some more techniques employing these different techniques that we've learned so far, some more ideas to employ those techniques. Take care. See you on the flip side.